Good afternoon and welcome back to the West Ham Network. Now, listen, while Russ has travelled abroad to find the nice sunny weather, chilling out beside the pool, what he doesn't realise is we have the same weather that he has spent an absolute fortune to sit beside a pool on, and we have that on our back door. I hope you are enjoying this glorious weather spell we are having. It's been lovely the past couple of days. However, I am in Scotland, and there are several hundred miles between me and you, depending on what part of the world you are living from and living in. But Russ, if you are watching this, that one was for you, mate. That's why I've got the sunnies out, ready to go. But we are all working at the same time. At least that's the one difference between what we are doing. Anyway, if you are new around here, welcome to your Hammers Headlines. This is in association with our good friends over at Knees Up Mother Brown. This is your Hammers Headlines, so make sure you do go over and check out kumb.com, of course, our good old friends of the channel. But I'm here to bring you some news with regards to an update at West Ham, and there's going to be a lot of updates, a lot of changes, and as you can see from the title of the show, major changes at West Ham. So let's get straight into it, and that is that West Ham are going to be, as we probably expected, big changes coming our way with regards to our coaches. Kevin Nolan, Billy McKinlay, John Heitinga, and other first-team coaches look likely set to leave and probably have potentially been released already from their contracts. You've got Billy McKinlay as a first-team coach. You've got John Heitinga as a first-team coach. You've got Kevin Nolan as a first-team coach. Mark Robson as a first-team coach. Henry Newman as a first-team coach. And Xavi Valero, the goalkeeper coach. It is yet to be officially announced by the club, but as expected, we're expecting that announcement to be made. Whether or not a few of those coaches stay in, then that will be interesting. But what we do have to do is thank them, because I think Kevin Nolan was an astute piece of business when West Ham brought him in a couple of years ago, and he's really added that kind of fight, that communication level. He's always been great when you meet him in person as well. Mark Robson, obviously being with the youth system. I think it would be an interesting one to have a look at those two in particular, and maybe Xavi Valero, about maybe keeping on that same consistency within the squads. But Julien Lopetegui will want to come in and obviously bring in his new coaching staff as well at the same time. But in these circumstances, this is fully expected. He will have his own team, Lopetegui, to come in and take over the mantelpiece from that position. And it's going to be a great opportunity for him to, set his standards from the off and get West Ham hopefully moving in the right direction. So put in the comments, let me know your thoughts on that as well. The next story, though, is maybe the Danny Ings situation. And apparently, according to the Evening Standard, West Ham will be listening to offers for Danny Ings this summer. Now, he has been out of favour at West Ham, and really, to be honest with you, I can't see Julien Lopetegui using him and utilising him in the way. Now, he is on £125,000 a week, and that could be detriment and a stumbling block to getting a deal done, but we do have to address this forward situation once and for all. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to be resolved once and for all, but we do have to utilize the players we've got in our squad, and I don't really know where Danny Ings fits in, and it's been quite clear for some time that his time at West Ham is coming to an end, and obviously with potentially the impending Southampton coming up to the Premier League, he obviously started his career there, that could be an option, but monies will be a problem. Obviously, he's still in contract with West Ham, so this could be an interesting one. Not a huge amount of appearances, not a lot of game time, and I do think there still is a player there. I still think there's a player there that can score goals at this level, but just in the right team that sets up in the right demeanour. Whether or not he drops down to the Championship, I don't know. Age isn't on his side, of course, but it will be an interesting development moving forward as we go along. Now, the last story I want to bring into you, which is a bit of a confusing one, if I'm being really honest, that West Ham are interested in free agent Foderingham, the keeper, Wes Foderingham from Sheffield United. Now, I haven't watched him a lot this season. The only time I've really came across him is when West Ham have played them, and I've always felt that their weakness was his contribution and his delivery from the back line. I always felt like West Ham never ever attempted shots at goals against him because I always felt like he was a shaky keeper. But maybe I'm misjudging him as a player. Maybe I am. He's an experienced player, obviously, and he is departing Sheffield United on a free contract. And it looks like West Ham are interested in bringing him on board to cover in between the six. Now, with the Premier League experience and the Champions League experience, he would also contribute to West Ham's homegrown quota. And he has made over 112 appearances for Sheffield United. But I think when you're looking at a player like Wes Foderingham, and I'm trying to see, is it okay as a backup option? And I'm looking at West Ham potentially renewing the contract of Fabianski and having Areola as West Ham's number one. I just don't see that as a real genuine option for us. Again, if any Sheffield United fans are watching me and listening to me and going, you don't know what you're talking about, then so be it. But I'd like to be proven wrong. But I've just only judged them on the performances that West Ham have came up against him, and I've always felt like he was the weakness. He was absolutely the weakness, and I never understood why West Ham went at him, and we never went at him, and other teams did, and of course they have conceded the most amount of goals, and I think he has struggled this season. So as much as it's potentially coming in as the backup keeper, I think that that's fine within reason for the right player. And I don't know if he is the right option for us, especially when you do have Areola, Fabianski, and some of the youth, which I do think some of the youth will go through. And to be honest with you, I'd rather look at some of our younger players. You know, Hedgie's gone away doing the job. Next week we've got players coming up through the ranks. I would rather that come through the ranks. So I'm not sure about this link. I don't know how true it is. It feels a little bit like the West Ham of old, if it's true. But he would, again, like I said, go towards the homegrown quota. Who knows what is actually the truth when it comes to West Ham right now, especially when we're going through so many drastic changes. Now, that does bring an end to our Hammers headlines. So many stories to get through. Coaches potentially changing and are looking likely to be changing at West Ham as Julian Lopetegui is about to be announced as the new West Ham head coach. He'll bring in his whole coaching staff, etc., etc. Danny Ings potentially heading out of the club this summer, but the stumbling block can be his wages, and West Ham potentially taking a keen interest in Wes Foderingham from Sheffield United on loan, as a free deal who would go towards the homegrown quota. You let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and of course, take it easy. Come on, your ends.